So Dana White gets asked a question about if he would be interested in signing Francis Ngannou, and well, he finally answered that question during the post-fight press conference during UFC 316. But before we get into it, if you guys can, please hit the subscribe button and let's shoot for 10 likes on this video. Anyways, let's get into it. So to kind of give you guys a Spark Notes version of their history of Francis Ngannou and Dana White, it all started at around the year 2022 when Francis wanted obviously more, pay. And with how Dana White and the UFC do their business, UFC fighter pay is very complicated and they couldn't get into an agreement. And so after that, they kind of left with the sour taste. And on both sides, Francis was frustrated with the situation. Dana White didn't like how Francis was going about it. So Francis took his talents to the PFL where he had, multiple boxing matches, Fury being, one of the craziest results. I know he did lose, but still, knocked down Tyson Fury and he got knocked out against Anthony Joshua. And then recently, or about like a year ago, he fought Brennan Ferreira and got that win in the first round. He hasn't fought ever since. And just not too long ago, a couple days ago, Francis Ngannou, with the report, is now interested in returning to the UFC. So John Jones on Twitter called him out and he wanted to fight him. John Jones and Tom Aspinall have a whole history. They, have been trying to set up that fight, the UFC, for a while now. And it was very interesting that John Jones, out of nowhere, ever since that report, now is interested in the Francis Ngannou fight. So UFC 316 gets passed by, and we are at the post-fight press conference when a reporter asked Dana White if Francis Ngannou and the PFL could collaborate with the UFC to make this John Jones super fight. And well, this is Dana White's response.
Obviously, this John Jones thing is what a lot of people are talking about. I wonder, is there anything that PFL or Francis could do to make that a realistic option for you guys, or are you fully focused on Aspinall?
Yeah, it's Aspinall's fight. I mean, we've been talking to this kid forever about it, and it's his fight. Listen, you can't make people fight. If John doesn't want to fight, can't make him fight. We can try to make him fight. We can throw things at him that inspire him to want to fight, but we'll figure it out.
Regarding this,
And, with Dana White's response, he is more interested in still wanting to get that Tom Aspinall and, John Jones fight. With Francis, so he did leave as a champion, to be fair. Obviously doesn't have the rights of who he wants to fight, immediately after his, situation with the UFC when he left. It's, this is a little similar, a little different at the same time, but with the difference with, like, let's say Francis and like Amanda Nunes coming back is that, at least Amanda Nunes left in good terms. Yes, she did leave as champion like Francis, but she did leave in good terms, and she's getting her fight that, she wanted against Kayla Harrison. And yeah, I mean, it makes a lot more sense. Just with business wise and everything like that, they're a lot more friendly and left business friendlier with Amanda Nunes when compared to Francis. It obviously left in a sour taste. That's why I think, Dana White doesn't want to immediately put a match where benefits Francis Ngannou at the end of the day. He's getting a lot of money. He's going to be under the UFC platform. And with Dana White's interactions with Francis Ngannou recently, in terms of the business side of things, it has not been pleasant. And so, yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get the Francis Ngannou John Jones fight really ever. Just because even if John Jones is interested, I don't think Dana White wants to deal with Francis Ngannou. And even somehow, some way, Francis gets signed to the UFC. I think once, somehow if John Jones and Tom Aspinall fights, I think John Jones is done after this fight. He doesn't seem like he wants to fight really, like, ever again. Only got one fight in him, and Dana White wants to use that opportunity to have him fight Tom Aspinall versus another super big fight with Francis Ngannou. So yeah, I think that's the current state with the whole Francis Ngannou and Dana White situation. I think either way, Francis returning to the UFC is a good thing, but initially he will have a hard time because of the consequences of him leaving the UFC in a sour taste. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this whole situation. If you guys like this video and want more, please hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.